Okay, the recorder is on now. We are in the public session. It looks like we inadvertently neglected to record the start of our meeting this morning. So for the record, I'd like to just state that we came into the public session, called the meeting to order at 8:34 a.m. And at 8:35, we had a unanimous vote in favor of a motion to go into to discuss confidential cases. We remained in executive session from that time until the present moment, which is 11:50 a.m. And now that we are in the public session, I believe our plan is to vote on our determinations for the cases we have heard so far.
Correct.
In HV 25-0017, HUD number 0125-54338, motion that the Human Rights Commission finds there are reasonable grounds to believe that respondent discriminated against the complainant based on disability by 1, refusing to make a reasonable accommodation, and 2, by failing to comply with Vermont access rules in violation of the Vermont Fair Housing and Public Accommodations Act 9 VSA 4503.
I'll be glad to second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
In HVPA 25-0003, HUD number 0125-55958, motion that the Human Rights Commission finds there are reasonable grounds to believe that respondent discriminated against the complainant based on disability by 1, by permitting a multifamily dwelling that does not comply with the Vermont access rules, and 2, by carrying out accessibility compliance practices that have a disparate impact in violation of the Vermont Fair Housing and Public Accommodations Act 9 VSA sections 4502 and 4503.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Beautiful. All right, well, it's been a long morning. It's 5 noon. I suggest that we move into a lunch break and according to our agenda, come back into the meeting at 11:15, where we will also be joined by Commissioner Bazzaio.
You mean 1:15?
What you mean
What
1:15?
did I say? Yes, 1:15. Let's not go back in time.
Yeah, really. I
Start.
was gonna say, you got a time machine over there? Can I borrow it?
I was talking about Don's time. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Executive session.
So
We will
10:15.
have to come back and then go into executive session to begin
Right.
our afternoon case. But let's come into we'll come back to the public session at that time at, again, 1:15 p.m. And we'll take a break for now.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll see it. We'll see you then, Don. Thanks.
Okay, the recorder is on. We are back from our lunch break. It is 1:16 in the afternoon. Commissioner Nate Bazzaio has joined us. And since we have a hearing at 1:30, I recommend that we move into executive session to discuss confidential cases. Can we get a motion?
I'll move. We go into executive session to discuss confidential cases.
Nowadays, they suggest.
We have a second.
Second
So we
that.
have
Nate
So we have a
seconded.
motion and a second.
I'll
To go
second,
in-
second, no.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. We are in executive session.
Great, and just in the nick of time, our investigator Vanessa Kranz has joined us. Thank
Hello.
you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I just saw the complainant outside. She's nervous. But
Oh,
I'm
hold on. Recorder is still on.
okay.
Still getting used to this. Okay, the recorder is back on and it is 2:18 PM and we are in the public session of the Vermont Human Rights Commission. I think we are ready for a motion.
Right. In PA 26-0006, motion that the Human Rights Commission finds that there are reasonable grounds to believe that respondent discriminated against the complainant based on disability by denying service to an individual accompanied by a service dog in violation of the Vermont Fair Housing and Public Accommodations Act 9 VSA Section 4502.
I second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Great. Thank you, everyone. We want to go back to some earlier agenda items while
No,
we're in the
just-
public session.
Just a
Go ahead.
quick one before Vanessa leaves. Do we want her to suggest, the training?
That would be a conciliation conversation for Mitch or I at this point.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure we had that on the table. Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, so I believe we can move forward with approving the minutes from our last meeting. Two of you
Yeah.
were not there and will have to abstain, but we will have 2 votes in favor, and I think that that would be sufficient. So I would like to hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2026.
Motion to approve the minutes of April 2, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And 1 abstention.
Yep.
And 1 absent.
Two abstentions.
Mitch, did you ask who the abstention
Don.
was?
Don was the
Two
abstention
abstentions.
and I was not there.
Okay, so we're clear on the minutes. I wanted to do a brief review of the ED report. So Don, you have fulfilled your duties on the cases, but if you enjoy the rest of the business of the meeting, you're welcome to stay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me get my ED report out here. Where'd it go? Okay, so let's see. Continues to be incredibly busy at our office, everyone. Wow, with the legislative session too, I am acutely aware that me handling everything on the policy side, along with all of our casework,
is a little bit untenable, and we will need to find a new model for next year. But I have some ideas about that. We had hoped to have a legal intern. That didn't, just for whatever reason, no one applied for this semester. And I will be thinking about ways to spread some of the load out next session to share some of the bill tracking that needs to happen. It's really been a big year for a lot of different civil rights issues and things impacting the community we try to serve. So it's there's been a lot to try to stay on the pulse on and to testify about. So I didn't have time to put an extensive list of what I've been tracking legislatively into this report, but my plan is for our May meeting that I'll have some kind of comprehensive legislative report to offer. But things in the budget are looking fairly smoothly. We did make it out of the Senate budget bill with the additional funds for making up the vacancy, turnover savings, and being authorized to fund a new staff attorney investigator position. There is actually, though, I just discovered, I think Tuesday, that our position is listed in a handful of positions that actually have a contingency attached to them. And so it's not a sure thing, and we won't find out until August if we're actually authorized to create those positions. And it's going to depend on how, like, how the revenues come back. If things have a percentage decrease, then it is possible that we will not have authorization to create the new position. So that would be a wicked bummer, because I can tell you that we are at beyond capacity right now with the investigations we have already underway, let alone the many that folks are trying to initiate every week. But I'm gonna hold out hope. Usually those forecasts come back better than folks thought it was going to. So I'm going to try to be optimistic that this is going to all pan out fine. The good news is that the budget, we will still get regardless of that contingency, we would still get that vacancy turnover savings additional allocation, and we are not being made to budget in to receive any additional federal funds. Which with the HUD situation, we should not count on receiving. That being said, the money that we were owed for last year from HUD, that is the subject of a lawsuit that we talked about last month, that money actually came through. We got the money. And so after going through all this effort with the appropriations committees, telling them, I don't think we're going to get the money. We're getting it now, but it's at the end of the fiscal year, so we couldn't have relied on receiving it throughout the year. So it was wise that we got the budget adjustment for this year. And I'll be curious to see how that plays out with our budget next year, as it will be considered what they call excess receipts. But that is $187,000. It is more than twice what we were receiving when I first became director. It's $80,000 more than we received last year. And it is the result of us, strategically increasing our fair housing activity and being able to generate real additional dollars because of that. Is the consequence of that going to be that we get less general fund dollars? I sure hope not. But that will be for conversations with the administration as the next fiscal year moves forward.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there only certain activities we can use those HUD funds for? I mean, it can't just replace general fund money, can it? I mean, going into, if it gets a carryover or whatever into fiscal year 2027, can that be used, or can it only be used for specific things?
So it's supposed to be used towards our fair housing activities.
The way that we have traditionally used it is we've spread it out over the course of the year, and we've had a portion of most employees' salaries and benefits coming out of federal funds, recognizing
Okay.
that basically everyone on staff does something to do with fair housing at some point. We don't have to use it all in the first year, though. We can use it over time, so we could use a little this next year and we could save the rest. We have like 5 years to actually spend it. And we did receive that funds after signing the voucher with a reservation of rights, basically saying, hey, there's still a lawsuit going on. We're not accepting these funds and giving up our rights under that legal challenge. So there's still a lot of question about those new terms that they tried to impose on our receipt of these funds. And it still begs me to question whether we should rely on any future federal funds. So maybe this money will be kind of the stopgap until we get a court decision on the legitimacy of their changes or until we have a new administration. But it's good to have that problem as opposed to the not enough money problem. We are in the process of recruiting a new hire. And you will meet that person at the next commission meeting. So that's very exciting. We are very excited to bring on a new attorney who will be filling the vacancy left by Kelly Pupor. Okay, and then you can see on the outreach and training section how much extroverting I have been doing. It has been really, really busy, and I've had to make up for it by several days of staying at home and working in a hoodie without interacting with humans. We're really excited. We have a lot of interest in registration for Mitch and I are doing a HRC civil rights primer for lawyers. We are charging $100 for attorneys to attend a 3-hour continuing legal education training with us online. And we have like over 50 people signed up to learn from us. So we're so excited. A lot of them are the defense attorneys that you see on our cases.
All of them.
And I can announce that we have gotten, since I wrote this report, we have secured the date for our next Civil Rights Summit. We're going to hold it the last weekend of September. And I'm going to say, Nate and Coach, I expect you both to be there. Thank you. I can tell Nate wants to unmute, so I'll wait. And you're
We'll
both
see what my
muted.
transportation situation is like. I would love to be there.
It's
Good.
a good target.
Yes, and there's also always a remote option. You know, either of
Yeah.
you could give some opening remarks or something. I think it can mean a lot for folks to see commissioners.
I will certainly try to be there at the very least remotely. Absolutely.
All right, yeah, we got to get that van situated. Okay, on the task force and committee section, Kate, so we had previously had Kelly serving as our proxy on the Vermont Criminal Justice Council. Kate is taking over that role now. I have become the chair of the Hazing, Harassment, and Bullying Prevention Advisory Council. I ran our first meeting on Monday, and it was something. So that's exciting, and I think it's important that we serve in this role to, I'm always working on these issues anyway, and it just made a lot of sense as the previous chair wasn't really able to dedicate much time to it in between meetings, and I'm able to do that, and I'm excited to move that work forward. And it means I'm having more conversations now with a lot of the stakeholders, including the Agency of Education administrators that are part of the council. I have a meeting with Heather Lynn on Monday, What? And I'm encouraging AOE to expand the membership on that council to include the Office of Racial Equity, the Network Against Sexual and Domestic Violence, who's a huge support for this work at the State House especially. And I suggested another entity, but it's not coming to mind right now.
Is this part of the Agency of Education or?
Yeah,
Okay.
it technically is. It's under their statute that they have to have this advisory council. And the members are listed in the statute. And then it also says that they can appoint additional members. So they've appointed a student member. And I think that there's a longing for there to be, they've also appointed Outright has membership now, and the Vermont Family Network, who previously didn't have a seat. And so I think that that's good, and we want to continue to see that grow. We also might be making some traction in the Senate Ed Committee that is considering in the miscellaneous education bill to expand the membership in statute to a longer list of folks, including more express like membership from people who are in the rank and file. So for instance, there's a designee from the NEA. Okay, we really want educators in the room. They're the ones carrying out HHV policies and dealing with these issues on the front lines. But we have an NEA staff member who's on the council, not an educator. And so one of the changes is like to make it be a teacher designated by the NEA. And those kinds of differences to help get more voices and expertise on like how do these issues play out in schools. And also it expands the duties of the council. And it sounded like that was getting support from the Agency of Education as well as the Ed Committee on the Senate side. So that's encouraging. That was introduced in a bill last year, H-130, that never really came off the wall on the House side. So that has totally happened because of our friends at the network being in the committee and lobbying for that. So that's exciting. We'll see where that goes. On the case loads information, we continue to kind of hover around the 90-something status of open intakes and 100+ active cases. This has kind of been where things have been at for a while, but you'll see that asterisk about cases in an investigation status that as of the writing of this report, we had 16 cases that were not assigned an investigator. And I know we've had at least 1 or 2 additional come in since then. You know, my investigative staff are maxed, and the more cases they have, it kind of slows everything down because you get a new case, you need to immediately kind of get in touch with parties and start looking at things, and it distracts you from moving the older cases forward. It's a real tough balancing act. Really, really, you know, crossing our fingers that we will be able to make that additional hire and have lesser caseloads for most staff. And then you can see we've made some progress with our cases that are post reasonable grounds determinations and litigation. And we do have some litigation matters we want to discuss with you in an executive session for that purpose. But before we get to that, I just wanted to see if there were any questions about anything in the ED report or anything else for the public business.
We're moving ahead. Great job.
Great. Thank you. Okay,
No,
so what is
even with the limitations, you know, it's still rocking.
we want to do that here? Yeah. Okay, we do have one more item for the public meeting, and that is that we have settled a case that was about to go to trial. We had a jury draw scheduled for Tuesday morning, and in lieu of the jury draw, we resolved the matter. This is the case of Alicia Appleton's complaint against her former landlord, Paul Campion. As you might recall this case, this was a woman who rented a mobile home from a landlord who has a variety of properties that he rents out, and she believed he had sexually harassed her. This was somebody who had, you may recall, there was allegations about a camera in her yard, and a claim of inappropriate remarks made to her in the course of, doing maintenance at the apartment, and some, concerning incidents, I'll say. And then there was also a retaliation component to that case where after she had tried to get to another housing situation, he was accused of disparaging her to her prospective landlord, and she lost out on housing, on getting out of that housing that she had with him. So we were fully prepared to bring this for both a hostile housing environment and a retaliation claim. Would you like to report on the settlement?
Sure, we settled for $10,000 on behalf, for the benefit of the complainant, and a public interest relief, principally concerning the landlords taking some training in sexual harassment, but mostly, but more broadly in terms of housing, fair housing laws, and focusing on sexual harassment. We'll direct him on where we want him to take that. He has to take at least no fewer than 3 and no more than 8 hours at his cost. He also covenants not to violate our act or have any of his agents violate the act, and that's an important covenant because that allows us, once the recidivist, to go after him not only for violating the law but also for breaking his settlement, which I think has more force in most every court of the land. So we're pleased. We're pleased that we're settled. We're still getting over the fact that I didn't get to try the case.
We all really want to see a trial. So I am informing you that we have reached this settlement, and I intend to sign that settlement agreement on behalf of the commission. So I guess I'm seeking your approval on that, ratification of that agreement.
Cool.
Yep.
Great. All right, here's the next motion we'll need to discuss our. Which the one highlighted? Okay.
Okay, so move to go into executive session to discuss matters about which premature general public knowledge would clearly place the commission at substantial disadvantage.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, let me turn off the recorder.
I don't know what it is. What time is it?
323.
3:23.
3:23. We're coming out of executive session.
The recorder is on. And we did not conduct any business or make any decisions in the course of our executive session there. I think we just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Motion to adjourn is accepted, and we wish everybody a great rest of your afternoon. Hopefully you don't get too wet moving around outside.
Hey, guy,
All right. Hey, Coach, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're feeling better, and, we missed you last month.
Well, we'll keep we'll keep pushing.
Yep.
You know, we'll see what Martin's got going. I think after we get some things going. Tomorrow's a big voting day. Got a lot